Yesterday we discussed about sidebar navigation, side navigation bar. So now today we will concentrate on SQLite, that is how to store the data locally into that server that we will see in today's class. So for that, I'll create one new project on the name of SQLite. So I'm creating one new project here. That is MTVS activity. So I'm creating an SQLite. So that SQLite example. So click on this. So in this here now we will take name, like username, location, designation. So with these three fields we can save, and in other class we will get the data. We will see how we are saving the data and how this data we are retrieving in another class. So that we will concentrate today here. So for this today, now first of all, to get the get the data, we will write the queries and all. But before that, here today, whatever the design XML, so I want to design that through using some of the AI tools. So as of now, because initial days, so that is the reason I not used any AI tool. But today, from today onwards, we will use some of the AI tools. That is like that are our known functionalities that we will use, but not for other. Because we know that how to design that XML. So with that same fields, we will ask that AI tool, means even if you ask complete code also it will provide. But I want to go with little bit restriction, because that remaining code we will go with the clear explanation and all. So basic UI design, I want to go today with SQLite as an AI tool. So on that AI tool, so one of the main AI tool, that is the Chart GPT. So I'm using this as the Chart GPT. So I'll share you this in a link. So by using Chart GPT, first of all, in a Chart GPT, you have to sign up with your one of the mail ID. So then after that, you can ask whatever you want, that you can ask here. So I'm asking here, I need, say this, whatever here we are writing, that should be, if you write proper, it should come this. So I need XML file. I need XML file with name, location, designation, name, location, designation, name, designation, with with edit text, and one submit button. Submit button. So this is the UI I'm expecting here, right? Now my question is done. Now I have submitted. See here how this it will generating the code. It is generated with linear layout. See, even if you want this with another, like I want to specific to this, I need with relative layout. You can ask that, it will give a relative. You can ask constant layout. Whatever the layout it will give, it will create that. See, it is created this. So for that time being, now I want to utilize this. So I want to utilize this, but let us say I want above code with relative layout. So I want above code with relative layout. So it will give relative layout. See, you can see here now. So these all are the AI tools. So nowadays, these AI tools will be made and see here. Now automatically that relations will create and everything will be created here. See. Say below of edit text location. Submit everything. So that and this, let us say I want this with constant layout. See, as of now, we not discuss constant layout, but just I'm asking, I need above code with constraint layout. See here. It will give with constraint layout also. Like this, we can ask anything, whatever you want, like anything, any code, it will give that code. So it will give everything. Right. But currently, here I want to use which are coming with an linear layout, right? That only I'm using currently. Let those also in our upcoming sessions, one by one, we will discuss, we'll go deeply. So here now, I want to remove this code completely and I want to replace with the new two. So that is here. Right. So it is created like this. See here, first you can see the UI. So UI will be created like this. Where like this will be, it is created like this. But I don't want this. I want this to be exactly the center of the page. So then simply here I'll ask, I need this code with linear, but the form should be center of the page. Form should be center of the page. So now let's us try with this. I have pasted that. See, it is adjusted center, right? Like this, we have to adjust. Just you can ask the question, so automatically will give, right? So for this now, what I'm doing here now, for this now, I'll just will give an data binding, then we can go and we can do the next step, right? So I'm creating here for this the data binding. Right here. See, nothing new properties, right? If you see here, there are nothing new properties, whatever we are discussing regularly, those properties only here, right? Then once we enable the data binding here, now here also we have to enable the data binding. So I'm adding here that data binding enable equal to true. So I'm enabling here data binding enable equal to true. Let us sync this. Right. So once this as sync, then we can add here something here now. Here we will enable that var binding column. So that is activity main binding. So equal to none. Right here, that is binding equal to data binding util dot set content. Right here, just we can import this and we can go with that. So till this, it is a normal, this is our regular activity, right? From here now, the actual, the coding will start for the database related. So that we will add here. Now this also we can import data binding util also we can import. The data binding detail also we can import. Done. So here we have to add the context, right? So then for this it require one ID here for the main activity. So that I'm giving ID should be main, right? Now here the next step here to write the database queries. Now here I would create one new class. So that class could be database helper db something, db helper something, right? I'll write that is the db helper. So the class name will be db helper, right? So once I have created this class db helper, now this class. So in this class now it should be extended with an activity, like means context. So but here I'm not tightly coupling with this any of the specific context. This I want to do with different, that is with a different context. So it should be handled with every context. So that's the reason I'm tying up with the general context. So the context colon, so context. So it should be context question mark, right? So this will be extended as a SQL open helper. So there is a class called SQL open helper. This is predefined. So with this reference of this only, because once we extended this, now we will do the next operations from here. So that is first one should be a context, comma. So for this, we have to give that DB name. So I'm giving the DB name, whatever the database name you have to create. Then Sqlite cursor factory, that we will give the null. So then after that, we will give that DB version. So DB version I'm giving, right? So now with these details, now here we will create one, means this method has, once whenever it is extended, it has two implemented methods. So those two implemented methods we will add here. And then here now we have to create some of the, in a companion object, we have to define the predefined things. So one is that is the private constraint val. So the first name could be here. I'll write the DB name. So the DB name, whatever we created, the DB name. So the DB name here, I'll give that has the user DB, something user DB or user detail something. So I'll give that user DB. Then private constraint val. So that is the DB version. So DB underscore version. So that I'll give one. Right. Next, that is the private constraint val. So here now I'll give that table name, right? Next could be the table users. So table name could be the table. So that is the table users. So I'm giving the table users equal to user details. So that table name I'm giving here as a user details. So user details, right? Next could be here private constraint val. So that is equal to key underscore ID. So key underscore ID, that is equal to ID, right? Like this. So we created with three fields, right? So name, location, designation. So this is the key name. So key name. The name here we will say that could be here. That is the name. So the next here it is the key location. So that is LOC location. So that we will write here, that is the location. So here the next one will be here key designation. Right. So this is the designation. So we will write this. Right. Now, once it is done here, now we will create a database here. So to create a database here, very simple way, we'll write with all these details, like we will create a database here. So for that here, we will write that val. So I'm writing one thing, that is create underscore table create underscore table equal to, so here create table. So create table space. So with name, we already created that. What is that? Table users, right? So table users, right? With this name, we are creating a table, right? So then now here, first one, what are the fields we are creating here? So that is the table. We are creating the table, right? So within this now, so we have to create, that is table. So first one could be here key ID. So with this key ID, we are creating. First one is the key ID. So that key ID, what I'm expecting is that is an integer, and that will be primary auto generate, that is integer primary. So integer primary key auto increment. So that is the auto increment. So that is an integer primary that I'm expecting that as auto. Then less. Next could be here. So the next one could be here. Auto increment. It is done. Next could be here key name. Right, key name. So that is as a text. So that is as a text. Comma. So then less 3. Right. This is the name. This is the key location. So this is the key designation. Right. So this is done. So after this here now, less. So here we have to close that function. Right. The open brace and close braces is closed here. Then now here we have to write that db. Here from here I'm calling that db dot execute SQL. So that is create table. The execute SQL, that is create table. So then here now next on upgrade. So directly we'll write that database dot execute SQL. So in this now I'll write that draw table if exists. Draft table if exists. So that is here. Now we will write table use. Done. Then after that we'll call that on create method. So that is the D. Right. So this is done. So this is what we have done. Table create in case the table name will be exist. So on place of that, we are saying that new table will be created. That is. Then after that here now we have to create now new, means we have to insert the data. So this is by defined method. So insert user details. I want to insert the user details which are coming from the XML side, right? First we have to insert that is the name. So that is in the form of string. We will insert that string, comma. Next one is the location. So location, that is also in the form of string, comma. Next, that is the designation. So that is also in the form of string, right? So with these 3 details, I'm inserting into this. So name, designation, this is it. So to insert the data here, now we need a writable database. So this dot writable database. We need a writable database to insert this data. So for that, to insert the data here now, we required content values. So where content values. So using these content values, we will define we will add the data into the database. So that content values equal to content values. So I'm taking that content values. So within this content values, we will add like this content values dot put. So first one could be here key name. So because ID could be auto generate, so that's the reason this is like name, whatever we defined above, that is the name. Right, then content values dot put. Next here, this is the key location. So that is the location. Next content values dot put key designation. So that is the designation done. So here now, after this, so the designation and all done. Right here now, val new row. Here we are inserting the data into the new row. So that's why here we are writing that new row ID. So we are creating a new row ID. So that is equal to db dot insert. So that here, what is data we are inserting? That is a table users, comma, null, comma. So the content values. So the content values I'm inserting into this. Then finally that db dot close. So we are closing the database connection once that is done. So this is the first step. The insertion has done. Right. So once insertion is done, I want to get the users, right? From get users, I want to get the users. So I want to get the users. So that users we will get in the form of array list because that multiple data could be there. So that's the reason it should be in an array list. So in array list, it should be in the form of hash map. The data will be in the map of hash map because one place, it should be multiple things will come. So that's the reason the data will be in the form of hash map, right? So in this hash map now, we have to here also var db equal to this dot writable database. So here also we have to do some operation on the database. So that's why writable database. Then after that here, var user list. So I'm creating user list that is equal to array list. So I'm creating one more new user list that is here in the form of hash. That means whatever the data will come, that step by step will assign into this. So that is a string, comma, string. So in the form of this, now we are assigning the data to here, right? Then var query. So I'm writing one query that is equal to. So here now we are selecting the data, right? Where we are selecting select. So that is the select. What are the details? Name, location, select name, location, then designation, name, location, designation. So these are the values I want to select from here from. So where table users, right? From the table users. From here, I want to get the data here. Then now here, whatever the data will come, so that we are calling that val cursor because it will go line by line, lot of data. So that's the reason db dot raw query. So in this raw query, whatever the query we done that I'm sending here, and I'm not putting any conditions. Simply it is a null, means I want all the data. Right. Next, I'm writing one while loop. So in a while, so what we have to write condition here, cursor dot move to the next. So cursor will move to the next. So here now I'm writing that var user equal to hash map. So that is the string, comma, string. So string, comma, string. So that is here. So just I want to get that one more here, hash map. So that is a user of first one here, it should be the name. So I want to get the name. So the name equal to. So where we will get this data? So that is from the cursor dot get string. From the cursor get string, that is cursor dot get a column index. From column index, we have to get. So what is a column? This is the name, right? Like this, we want two more, right? Name, that is next could be here, location and designation, right? So this I'll change as a location. So this I'll change as a designation, right? So here, this keys also will change. So key, location, key, designation. Done. Right. So for this, it will expect something on a suppress method. Here it will be added. Then it will be clear. Right. Now, so we got the data. Right. So here it would be here. Return. It will return, means it will return to the user list. But before that, here now whatever the data will come, so that we have to add, that is a user list dot add user list dot add whatever the user data will come. So that step by step it will add to this. Done. So this is done. Next here, now like I want to delete the data. So how we can delete the data? So I'll create one function, that is delete user. So delete user. If I want to delete the user here, so that is based on a user ID. So based on a user ID, we are deleting the data. Right. So that user ID, so that is in the form of integer. Right. That is integer. So here also where db equal to this dot writable database. Then db dot delete. It will simple way it will delete. So db dot delete. So that is from table users, comma, where that the key ID. So based on a key ID. So plus. So here we have to equal to question mark. Means question mark means it will call always the dynamic data. So that is array of whatever the data will come. So that is a user ID dot to string. Whatever the data will come, that will convert into string. Then db dot close. Right. So this is the delete has completed here. Right. Last one more here. Now one more query we will write. That is for fun update. So update user. So update user. For this update user here, we will write that location, name, location, then designation. So these are the data I want to edit. That is with reference of the ID, right? So that is ID colon. So int. So with reference of this integer, so that data we will update that, right? So here also val, that is so for this almost it should be similar to this update here. Now I'll take this content values, not this one. This is like this. Because we want to get the data and we have to update, right? So that's why I'll take this data. We will modify accordingly. So just I want to copy and I'll paste here. So first it should be writable database, right? It should be writable database. Then content, location, designation, and everything we have given. Right. So designation, location, and given int where disable content values. That's done. So content table. This start writable database. Oh, sorry, not this one. It should be this one, content values. You have to call this one, not that one. So here, this is the one. So we got this data. Whatever the data we have, that is db dot this. We have all the data here. Now, simply here it will return up. That is the db dot update. So here we are updating the data. So where we are updating with this table users, comma. So with reference of the content values, whatever we are sending that content values. So that is with reference of the key ID. So with reference of the key ID, we are updating the key underscore ID. That is equal to question mark, comma. So that is array of ID dot toString. So this we have to update it. Done. So this is done. So now total 4 queries we have updated. So in this one more query is there, like only I want to get the specific one user data. So that and how to get this data in a class. So that we will write in tomorrow's session.
Okay, sir.